Hello friends, welcome to Knitography. I'm Patricia and I'm coming to you from a studio in the middle of Norway. It's day 2 of my Happy New Year vlog series where I'm just trying to check in, catch up with all of my projects, and just lots of sharing that I missed out on during the Vlogmas season. So in vlog number 1, the New Year vlogs, you can hear the backstory of that and also the projects connected to my 20th wedding anniversary. It is, as I said, Monday afternoon. It's very dark. The lighting is going to be very tricky, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go ahead and check in with you this week, even that I arrive home in the late afternoon, in the pitch black darkness. I came home and shoveled a bit of snow to get up in my studio. I made myself a really warm coffee, and yeah, I just am gathering my things together to share with you. I really thought today that I would share the wedding history from the Selbubåter book on page 18. But I'm actually rereading through it and making sure that I have all of the information translated in just the right way. It's such a wonderful story. It's my absolute favorite room in the Selbubåter museum, the Selbubåter Museum in Selbu. And I really want to get it right so that you know the history and the background of the knitting of the traditional wedding mittens, although these are not the traditional mittens from the book. I really enjoy this story because the bride, although probably nervous about her wedding and everything that has to do with the wedding, she was really working hard to get ready for her wedding day with the knitting. And so it's just a fascinating story. And I want to really get that finished, translated for you. And possibly tomorrow I'll have that done. But today, just from feedback from the vlog yesterday, I decided to go up and get my cape out that I wore with my wedding dress, which I showed you yesterday. I wasn't really happy with this cape. I'm not happy with the shape of it or anything. Probably just my own drawing and communication. And I'd love to do something else with it. I'd love to make it usable and wearable in the future. But this is the cape, and it is a fake fur. It's satin lined exactly with the fabric from my dress. So actually you wear the satin on the outside, and then you wear the fur lining on the inside, although it's completely reversible. On my wedding day, it was really cold. Although we had sunshine, it was, turning to the darkest part of the year. It was super cold. It was snowing, and we had to drive to the fjord. Yeah, that was a good little drive in the car that picked us up, and so I had my cap sleeves, and I only had this cape. So it did provide a lot of warmth, but the cape is, it's almost like a Red Riding Hood shape. So you see that it's this is what it looks like if I can even hold it up. And so it was draped around me in the front. And then here in the front, I wore the jewelry that I showed you yesterday that I designed for my wedding day. So, I don't know. I've taken it out on most of my anniversaries, and it's really, it's faux fur, but it's super rabbity soft. And the satin is the same fabric from my wedding gown, but I just haven't been creative enough to decide what I would like to do with it. So I'm just keeping it. I've never worn it again. And what it really reminds me of, and sometimes I think about, when I was a little girl, one of the most beautiful memories that I have of winter was having this little white muff that I could stick both of my hands in winter. It had this same kind of fur and this, yeah, on the inside and the outside, but it did have a bit of satin. So that was kind of what I was envisioning when I described this to the seamstress. But it was an afterthought. I had been so busy thinking about my dress and how I wanted my dress and designing the jewelry and all the arrangements with the music that I totally forgot about what I was going to wear on the outside of my dress. So this is really what we came up with. It's sewn very beautifully, but I don't know, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the fit of it. I didn't like the drape of it. And so I don't really know what I'm going to do with it in future, but getting it out and sharing it has made me think that I really want to do something with this cape that might be a meaningful reflection back on my wedding day. So I just wanted to share that. And I also wanted to clear up because when you are vlogging and you're just talking to yourself and you're trying to remember everything, I realize sometimes I said 2007 when I should have said 2017 when I was talking about last year on my 20th anniversary. When I met my husband in London, it was long before the 20 years that we were married. I met him at least 3.5 years before we were married. As I've shared before in my vlogs, I was in New Zealand and England and Spain, and so in America also, and we were kind of a lot back and forth before we ever decided to really settle in Norway. So we just used December the 16th because that was the day that we met. So listening back to my editing, I realized that I should clarify that we've been together for longer than 20 years. So, but married for 20. So the Selvbevaltud book does tell us that for very special occasions, the mittens are usually red and black. And so those are the extra special, or stasvoted. Stas means really fine, really special. If something happens special or, extra special, we say it's stas. And I think that's such a beautiful word because of the way the S's blend together. It does feel extra special when you say the word. So anyway, just to celebrate the red celebratory color, that's one of the reasons why I did the red heart. Because red in Norway is often used as a celebratory color. So if you're going to have a baby, or I know I knit some baby mittens recently, and usually all of my baby mittens, if I give them as a gift, I knit them in red and white because that's extra special. And of course in Norway people kind of know that, so they consider red to be a extra special Selbu mitten. So for friends or babies, I often do them in red and white. So yeah, so tomorrow I will probably really dig into that story, have it fully translated because it is one of my favorite stories. And as I told you, the bridal loft, or the area where they were hung, is exactly the place where I have my studio. So the story is just really, I feel so connected to the story, and as I said, I spent a lot of time in the museum, in the wedding room. I'm also going to take you inside my home to show you the most beautiful wedding trunk. Now, I didn't have a wedding trunk when I was married, but I made sure that I had one made for my daughter when she was born. And they're kind of like a hope chest. If you know the tradition of a hope chest. I actually also had a hope chest that I wasn't able to ship to Norway, and so my niece has it now. I think I got it on my 16th or my 18th birthday, one of those two birthdays, and it's a cedar chest, and so very special. And Emma's also is a very special trunk. Right now it houses all of her baby things, but as she moves out into maybe living on her own, I plan to fill it with all sorts of necessities that she would need to start her own home. And so I want to take you in because that's a very special trunk, and it is all painted in rosemaling, which is the traditional Norwegian painting. So I'm going to go inside this week in one of my vlogs to show you the traditional wedding trunk, or the hope chest. And when you go into the Selbuvalter Museum, they have a wedding trunk there, very old, and you can actually see it in a picture in the book. And of course they have all of the Selbuvalter on display in there. I need to do a little research to see what they might have actually kept in the trunk, but if I imagine and connect other knowledge that I have about these traditions, there were probably homesteading or home items that the bride would need whenever she moved away from home. So today I just want to get right into some of my projects that I finished over the holidays, and of course it is another mitten. I finished the Songbird Mittens by Erica Hauser. This is another pattern by Erica, and she is the same designer behind the underwing mitts. So I've wanted to knit these mittens for a very long time, and my mom really loves the motifs of Erica, and so in the beginning I was going to make these for my mom as a present for Christmas, but actually she wants she really loves the hummingbird mitts, and because she lives in Texas where the winters are extremely short and it's very warm, very mild winters and very warm, she would prefer to have the mitts. So I have the songbird mitts, and I knit them out of my extra Roma lamb's wool. I used the leftovers from the underwing mitts. So I just took the embroidery color and the background color, which I had quite a lot of, and I still do, and I decided to make these mittens. This is a wonderful pattern. I enjoyed knitting them. I enjoyed watching the bird emerge. I knit these in, yeah, both of the mittens I think I knit in less than a week. It just went so quickly. I especially like the thumb detail. It's a beautiful thumb, and the pattern on the palm. I think it just complements the pattern very well. I want to tell you though, in the pattern, when I was knitting the gusset, I knew better from my gut instinct and my experience knitting mittens. And this is something I really mentioned before. But sometimes when you have an increase, they don't really specify the make one, but they don't tell you that you should have it right leaning right or left leaning left. So, yeah, I felt like when I was following, I've got this gusset is not as clean because I started off just following the pattern, and then I thought, no, I need to really trust my instinct and go back. So when I knit it again, following my instinct, of course, I got the perfect gusset. And I do like that the line extends down. I like this little detail that she has here where the line of color extends down and you've got the little gusset. It's very different than a selbewalter because this does extend out, and usually on a selbewalter it extends down on both sides. So that was a little bit different in this pattern. But sometimes you've got to really trust your knowledge of knitting from previous patterns and go with it, because this one has the traditional selbewalter shape and the gusset, the Norwegian gusset, and you work the thumb in the same way, the same pattern on the palm. And the only difference is, of course, from the mittens I showed you yesterday, is that she does go a needle size down on the cuff. Now these have all been blocked and they're perfectly fine, but I do think that having a smaller needle size on the cuff just gives you that extra in your sleeve. One of the things I want to talk about this week, and you know, if you're following along this week with my vlogs and you have any questions, I hope that you'll contact me, because then I can prepare and add those questions into the vlog. But one of the things that I do, I always start my cuff on double pointed needles. I don't know why that is. I just feel like with a double pointed needle, I just have more control of the casting on. I do the long tail cast on, usually all with my mittens. I find it to be a very neat cast on. I know there's lots of different cast-ons that you can try, but I just do the long tail, and I use the 5 double-pointed needles, and I like to knit my cuff. And the reason I do is because cuffs are usually the pattern going around and around, and yeah, I just feel that's comfortable for me. But some people can cast on in magic loop. You should just do what feels comfortable for you. But to really set my gauge and to set the mitten up, I always do double pointed needles. And then when I get in the selbewalter or just any mitten that I've done, all of these, I even did it on the underwing mitts. What I like to do is to really get my front, the front of my mitten, the stitches that are going to be the front in the chart, and I like to get the back of the mitten that's written into the chart on 2 magic loop needles. So in other words, I would switch up here to magic loop, and then I would have the whole front of the mitten on the first needle, and then on the back I'm going to have the palm stitches. And I really recommend you do that, because then the chart just flows. You read from right to left, you read the front of the mitten, and then you just cruise on, turn around your magic loop, and you do the palm of the mitten. Now, I always have the stripe that is on this side. I always have the this part of the side on the front mitten, and then I knit across and I have the other one on the back of the mitten. So when you block them out, then they are just the sides, so it doesn't really matter where you put them. But what I like to do is just start the mitten with the little pattern, go across the over of the hand, the front of the hand, and then knit across the palm, and then I'll finish it off with the ending stitches. So I organize my needles in that way, and I just find you read across the chart quicker if your needles are really, if your palm and your the palm and the front of the mitten are organized on needles. Now, if you do DPNs, of course, needle 1 and 2 would be the top of the mitten for me, and then on the back, needle 3 and 4 would be the palm. And I used to do that before I really learned magic loop. But I like to have the two, the front and the back of the mittens separated, because I find that chart reading is much quicker when you do that. So I highly recommend this pattern. There have been many people that have knitted these mittens. They just fit beautifully on me. They fit perfectly after they're blocked. And I'm going to knit, I actually have cast on the hummingbird mittens for my mom, so I'll either keep these for myself, or I'll probably keep them for myself, but also probably share them with Emma Grace because she really loves these as well. So, I have some other projects going on, some works in progress, which I'm going to do one of my days this week on just my works in progress. But I want to talk about another project that I learned so much from. And I used Roma, but I used the Gammel Tutro. Now, what's different about this yarn from Roma is that it is a high twist. So the 2-ply high twist yarn, and if you look at it, you'll see if you held it side by side to the finull, it's exactly like finull, but the twist is super tight. So, Ellie at Skein put out a Selbu sock, and there was no question in my mind that I was going to knit it. And I got really, like I do, I got really excited, and I got the pattern, and I was so happy for Ellie because it is a very special looking sock. And here's the sock. This is the Selbu sock by Skein, and I haven't started the second sock yet, but I'm going to. But I want to really use the vlog to talk a little bit about this sock and what I learned. First of all, Ellie uses a wool, tuku wool, that has nylon in it. And when I was talking to Ellie, she was warning me and advising me because I wanted to use Roma. And it doesn't have any nylon in it. And so, that was kind and everything. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go down and I'm going to talk to the Husfliden ladies, the Norwegian, the Husfliden I've shared before. This is sort of the co-op of knitters and makers in Norway. And I know that this yarn is used for the bunadstrømper. If you're a man, you have these long stockings, and they use the bunad, knit these for the bunadstrømper. So I knew they were used for socks and stockings, but you have to kind of remember that those are not worn every day. They're not for everyday wear. They're for special occasion wear. So I was a little bit in doubt as well, and I thought about going to Gusam Ull, which is the online shop that I get, my tuku wool, and I've got many things from her. I get my Lane magazine from her, so she's a wonderful source in Norway for many different kinds of ecological wools. But anyway, I was so excited because she got tuku wool, and I can actually show you that in just a sec. So I went down to Husfliden and I talked about Ellie's sock, and she, she's in the Bladet Garn magazine, which it's in Norwegian, but they have a Kickstarter campaign that they're trying to make into English. So anyway, I was talking about it, and she told me, she said, oh, well, you could have a go with it and knit them. So I knew that these might not be socks that I could just wear around every day, but maybe I could wear them on hikes or in my boots or something like that. Well, I got the pattern and I got so excited, got my yarn, and these are actually the new colors from the Roma tutorial because they had really basic bunad colors, you know, stocking colors before. But now I was so excited because they came out with all this new colors, and I was waiting for this golden color to come into my husfliden. So I got home and I got the pattern and opened it up, and it was toe up. So I got a little bit discouraged and nervous because I've never done a toe up sock. And I talked with Natalie at Remembrance Pottery because she test knit these for Ellie. And I talked with her, and you know, she also is a cuff down girl, and she did the test knit and everything. And I think I even talked with Ellie about it, that I was, you know, she kind of said to me, like, go for it, you know, I really recommend it because you can try it on and everything. So I thought, okay, you know, I'm going to give it a go. Well, I am so glad I did. This is my first toe up sock. And in the pattern, she gives you the link for the cast on, and I went and watched the video of the cast on, and I got it cast on, and I knitted the toe, and it was just, the pattern is so clear of how to cast on, how to increase and everything, and I was so excited. Now, this toe, in order to get gauge, I used a 2mm needle, just like a mitten, just like I did. This toe is so sturdy. It is so sturdy. It has no nylon in it, but because I used the 2mm to get my size, I think it could withstand a lot of wear. And not only that, when I started the color work, which is genius, absolutely just the way it is, you are making a double sock actually. So not only does it not have nylon in it, I am making, because of the color work and the way Ellie has the, you know, you got the yellow and the white and all of that on the foot, and you got the color work on the front, you're actually making a sock within a sock. Sturdy, sturdy, sturdy. So of course I relaxed completely, and I knew that the Roma tutorial without nylon was going to be fine. So I got to the heel, and of course Ellie's got this heel. It's also reinforced the way you do. I don't know if it's an eye of partridge or a slip stitch heel. I don't know what it's called, but she used it. Now, maybe I could get some wear here. I don't know. It is the same sturdiness as the toe, and I went right on up. Look how beautiful this gusset is. And I was so concerned. I really did not think that I had the knitting ability to make this sock, but I absolutely did. It's genius. It's gorgeous. I got up to here, and now the top of this looks a bit stretchy and it looks a bit flimsy, of course, because it's a toe-up sock. But let me tell you, it fits like a glove, and that you need it to look like this. This hasn't been blocked, of course, but you need it to be stretchy and good, and it just, when I put it on, it looks perfect on my leg and on my foot. I am saying I've knit lots of socks. This is the best fitting sock I have ever put on my foot. So I'm super excited for this sock. I highly recommend the pattern. And even though people might naysay it, I am totally convinced that the Roma tutorial was the right yarn for this sock. Totally convinced. It's sturdy. It's beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. It feels like a sock with stas. Absolutely. Now, I will probably see about the wear. I did not add anything to the heel or to the toe, as I mentioned, but, you know, I will see how it wears, and I will learn from that. But right now, the way that I wear my socks, I'm not hard on my socks, and when you're hiking and a good fitting sock and a boot doesn't slip around, I think it's going to be okay. Now, The other thing that I wanted to remember to say, oh, it's the Selbu sock by Skein Knits. The other thing that I wanted to say about, I wanted to show you the back. I'm trying to think what I wanted to say about this sock. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was one, I knit it in 3 days, I think, something like that. I knit it so quickly. I could not put it down. I could not put it down. It was just that beautiful. I love the detail on the side. I love the gusset. Oh, it's so beautiful, this sock. So I'm also going to make this in the traditional black and white. I have the yarn ordered and I'm going to make it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. When I got here to here, I didn't do it because I wanted to really honor Ellie's pattern and knit it properly the first time. But I want to tell you, when I got just about right here, this was the most beautiful slipper. It was the most beautiful slipper. If I would have stopped and done maybe a rolled cuff in this gold, it looked just, it stood up like a slipper and it looked like a slipper. It's so sturdy. So I might make a pair of slippers out of these sometime as well, so that I don't have it all up my leg, but I can just slip them on and wear them in the house. I haven't shared that with Ellie, but that's some of the reflection that I have. Loved these socks. So don't be afraid if it's a toe up sock. Do not be afraid of that. It was absolutely, it was a dream to knit. And of course, Inaroma Ul. Now, what else was I going to share? It was a busy day at school. I have assessments going on. I've got to spend my evening with some spinning, which I'm going to talk about. I'm going to have a whole day where I just talk about spinning this week. But in my late evenings, I'm going to be hunkered down, writing my assessments, and yeah, I have a lot to do this week. So my knitting is going to take a little bit of a back seat. I thought I would, on the days that I'm traveling, just show you what my travel knitting is. And right now, I'm trying to get this Telia sweater body finished so that I can get to the yoke. Now, normally, Knit Love Wool, Jennifer Stangas's sweaters, for me, just like that. I knit them in a snap. But because I chose black, and it is the darkest part of winter, I have struggled for the first time with one of her patterns. Not the pattern, but just because of the color choices. And not only that, I went down a size needle than I normally use with Let Lopi. I'm using Let Lopi. Yes, I do have the sleeves. I have both sleeves finished. I've shown these before. I've photographed them on Instagram so many times. People probably are wondering, what? Why haven't you finished that? But I absolutely love my choices. And I've got to get this finished because I want to wear it in February. I've got to. But I went down a little bit to have to make this more of a very cold winter sweater. So, of course, you have more rows when you do that. So, it's absolutely beautiful. But it's taking me ages. So I've been knitting on it in all of my meetings. I had a little meeting for about 20 minutes today, just listening, and I was knitting. I knitted to and from school, and maybe in some downtime tonight, I'll knit a bit more on it. But that's my travel knitting for this week. I'm committed to it. Normally, I take something much smaller, but just the demands that I have for my week, I decided to, make that a goal to get through it. I am also working on my Latvian mitten, and I'm going to talk a lot about that in another vlog. So that's it. I'm going to say goodbye again for Monday, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully with the wedding story completely translated to tell you the story of the wedding mittens and the bride's responsibility and how they were displayed. So for those of you that have the Selbewalter book and you look in your book, you'll know that story, and you can come back to the vlog and listen to it whenever you'd like to. But I really enjoyed coming in today and into my studio and knowing that I was going to share with you, and yeah, it was exciting to do. So I hope you had a beautiful start to the week, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening or morning wherever you are.